When I was asked to do TED, I actually said no, this isn't happening.
And when I was asked to do TED, I said yes.
I said no.
And I said yes.
And I said no to Harry because people that do TED Talks are experts, they're geniuses, they know what they're talking about. You're 14, I'm your dad.
And I said to my dad that he may just be my dad, but he is an expert at failing, so let's do the TED Talk.
Expert at failing, it is harsh, but true. So you can tell who won this argument. Here we are, stood on the famous TEDx Red Dot, and tonight we're going to tell you our story. We're going to talk, it's not going to be a sad story, we're going to talk a lot about failure, but more importantly, why we believe the world doesn't need any more ideas.
So, our story starts in 2018 when I've come home from school just learning about the plastic problem and I'm deeply upset. So, I've sat down at the dinner table and asked my dad to save the world.
So literally I would had a fairly hectic day and my then 8-year-old and 7-year-old are staring at me saying, Mum, Dad, save the world, of which my answer was what?
No.
Of course it's no. I don't have the capacity to save the world. However, I said to Harry, I will listen. Every idea should solve a problem. What is the problem?
So, we have a very big problem on our hands. 500 plus billion bottles are made a year, 1 million are sold a minute, and only 7 to 12% of them are recycled. The rest going to landfill or the ocean, which just isn't good enough.
So this was 2018 when you got your data. We're now 2025. What's the data looking like now?
I'd say it's probably tripled by now.
So that is quite a sad fact. There's never been more awareness, but less action around single-use plastic, okay? So Harry was talking to me. I kind of said maybe, and what does a maybe equal to a kid?
A yes.
So the next night we went for a family pizza, same restaurant every Friday night. Harry wouldn't stop talking to my wife Jocelyne and I, so I said to him jokingly, every idea needs a business plan, and then we just carried on chatting.
So, I made a business plan. It's made on a bit of pizza paper and with some crayons. 1, only use 100% recycled waste. 2, design products that last and can be repaired easily. 3, no person nor the planet is harmed. And 4, which is my favorite one, that employees get to spend time with their family, because my friends would come to school and talk about how they don't see their parents enough, and I decided that wasn't happening in our business.
So you've got to listen to kids, right? Whilst this is written on a bit of pizza paper, this has seen some light, let me tell you. And yes, adults like to complicate things. And yes, we have a much bigger business plan, but this is the business plan that basically sets the rules for our organization, right? This keeps us on the straight and narrow. Now, Mum and I were quite impressed, I have to say, right? But Mum said, a business requires people.
So, I made a management team. It's me, my mum, my brother, and my dad. And as you can see there, we each have 25% say, because as you've gathered through this talk, my dad liked to say no a lot, and me and my brother, we like to say yes. So I decided that we could overrule him in every decision made.
So, Mum actually wanted me to say on the record, whilst you have 25% say, you and your brother do not carry 25% of the workload. Just saying, right?
Take that.
But him and his brother can override me, and a year ago I presented an idea to the management team. He rejected it, and so I just had to go away and rethink. But there's been some really interesting times with this leadership team, and I've got to say, kids can learn a great deal from us more senior people, and I have to say that the older generation should listen to the next generation. They have some brilliant, insightful, uncomplicated, honest, no BSH, approach to business, and I love it. There's been some interesting moments. What's going on here, Harry?
So my dad says that he reckons you can lead from any age. And so I decided to interview our first employee. Now, he was very tall, so I had to stand on a milk crate, but this kind of just shows how you do need to give a voice to younger people.
Right, and actually, Marcus, if you ever watch this on the TED video, you're a legend. He was great. He was the best hire, and I wanted Harry to understand that if he hired bad, he has to deal with that, right? But Marcus was fantastic. So what was the idea? After all this, what did we do? We set up a brand called Good Citizens, and Good Citizens turns a discarded, which was our problem, single-use plastic bottle into a pair of eyewear frames in a machine in Sydney. What's special about the frames?
So on a lot of other eyewear, when you break them, because of their metal hinge and mixed materials, you can't actually replace or recycle or even repair them. So with our glasses, they're made from one material, and because of their special hinge design, you can replace them because they're mix, match, and modular.
So where did that idea come from?
Lego.
So, simple. Adults look at things and he comes in going, what about this? And I'm like, yes, that's so simple and obvious. How long did it take? What was the journey like? This was a typical Saturday morning in the workshop, failing. How did you feel throughout this process?
Well, I'm watching my dad fail and fail and fail and fail. So it was pretty sad. But at the same time, I have a lot of hope because we're finally getting on with things.
Hope. Right. So we've broken this project up for you into 3 stages. 4 months was research. I said to Harry, we've got to make sure nobody else in the world is doing this. So 4 months. 9 months design. And then the rest of this time, the rest of the 752 days, was trial and terror. Not trial and error, it was trial and terror. Harry, quite insightful, could see I was suffering sometimes, so asked me to measure my happiness out of 10. I have to say, I never got above 5 in 2 years. I shouldn't laugh. I was a broken man. I didn't sleep more than 3 hours a night. I was pained, I was tortured. There are 4 blue circles here, and how many times do you reckon I cried throughout this period?
Maybe 6.
Like proper man cries. Maybe 6. And these are 4 dots. This is my wife taking us aside saying, are we really doing this? Really, are we doing this? Like we are going to lose everything. But we kept going. Now, what would keep anybody going? When you're at 2,500 failed attempts, what could possibly get you to 2,501?
The finger bun effect. Who here likes finger buns?
Yes.
Well, I like finger buns as well. And after school, I would always ask for a finger bun.
You'd always get one if Mum picked you up, but you didn't always get one when I picked you up. But I found it fascinating. Like Archie and Harry, they wouldn't accept no for an answer. They would say finger bun time, and I'm like, no. Anyway, there's a little graph up here. We did this in ChatGPT. Every TED talk has to have a graph. You'll notice, kids, 7, never accept no. As we get older, we start to accept no more, till eventually we get really kind of a little bit older and you start to say no in your mind before anyone's even asked you, right? It's true, I can see some heads nodding. This is how it is. Why do we say no? So I said to Harry, I want to bring some of your kid-like tenacity to this project. So we created Move Over McKinsey and Harvard modeling. This is the model. This is the model that will get you through all problems in life.
The 3 Ps: purpose, progress, and perspective.
So purpose, why are you doing it? What's your reason for turning up? Progress, you've got to measure what you're doing, otherwise you'll go crazy. And perspective, you need to look at things with fresh eyes. So what's our purpose in Good Citizens?
To untrash the planet.
He doesn't want to grow up in a world drowning in trash. You don't want to grow up in a world drowning in trash. I don't want to grow up in this world drowning in trash. It's not what we want. What we were doing was turning a 600ml bottle into a pair of frames, and we failed a lot. But what we did was we wrote down our progress. If you don't write down your progress, and it doesn't always have to be the things that are working, it's the things that aren't working. If you don't write that down, you get really overwhelmed. And then the next thing you do is start to listen to all the people that go, you're crazy, you shouldn't do this. And then eventually you start listening to everything in your head and you will give up. So you must write things down. Always measure your progress. Once we'd gone for an attempt and we'd failed, we would look at it with fresh eyes, new perspective. What's at the middle of our very complicated formula?
Belief.
Belief is everything. So once we'd failed, we would write it down and then we would look at it and go, we believe we can go to the next level. Now, my dad, he rang me once and he said, how many failed attempts are you in at now? And I think we were like 2,000. And he laughs down the phone. And I'm like, you don't laugh. We are stressed. This is a nightmare. And he said, James Dyson, he failed over 5,500 times. right? So you've only failed 2. You've got 3,000 more failed attempts up your sleeve.
And then the KFC guy, which I'm sure everyone knows, failed 1,008 times, and only on the 1,009th attempt did he finally crack the secret herbs and spices.
It's true. So once you find this out, you're like, hang about, we're in a really exclusive failure club. This is cool. We like this. But more importantly, you realize that all the best ideas in their DNA have failure. There is no such thing as an overnight success or a light bulb moment. Failure is in the DNA.
And then, finally, on attempt 2,503, we cracked it and made the first pair of Good Citizens sunglasses.
The sun did certainly come out and shine that day. That was a great moment, I have to say. Hadn't failed my family. So what was interesting was other people started to believe in us. There is a department store in the United Kingdom called Selfridges. They've been voted the best department store in the world 4 times. They gave us a window next to Prada for 3 months. Right, insane. Just quickly, the window went live the day COVID hit, so it's the most famous window that no one saw. However, we got that window.
And then again, the news started to believe in us. So the Sydney Morning Herald were on the front page, as well as Forbes were in that. And it kind of just goes to show that our idea was out into the world. And then the United Nations started to believe in us. So we were invited to talk at the United Nations, and I answered the first question on transparent supply chain management.
I just want to pause there because we got asked to speak at the United Nations on a live Q&A, and there's all these experts and these amazing human beings. And the moderator said, I would like somebody to answer the question on, transparent supply chain management. And what did you do?
I put my hand up and I answered it.
Right. As a father, I've never felt so frightened, but yet so happy that I've raised this kid. But I have to say, his answer was excellent and got lots of nodding. And that was a very, very proud moment.
And then finally, the customers started to believe in us. So if you stack every bottle end to end that we have rescued, it would reach 182 kilometers into the sky, which is further than Jeff Bezos' rocket.
So this is the first bottle we ever found in a little suburb in Sydney called Balmain. It was hiding in a rock. And so if you're here tonight, or you're watching it around the world at a later stage on a TEDx video, I want you to look at that bottle and you imagine that is that big. We've gone 182 kilometers in the space. It doesn't matter what age you are, what skills you have. If you have an idea and you believe in something, you can go far. Little ideas have to start somewhere. So not all these failed attempts were wasted. This is actually one of my proudest moments, aside from the United Nations one. Sorry, Buster. All our failed attempts are now helping the next generation. So we're part of the school curriculum in Victoria. This is a note from Zach. This sits on my desk. Zach has no idea. He'll have an idea now because he's in a TED video. But he basically studied our business, our brand, and took an exam and wrote me this lovely little note, right? And the small things matter. Currently, we are co-writing the next higher education for TAFE New South Wales for the next generation to take all our failed attempts and look after their future. And for me, that is the most important thing, is the future. So why are we telling you all this? The world doesn't need any more ideas. If I asked all of you in this auditorium to scribble down a couple of ideas, we would have 1,000 ideas. You can go to AI, and it can give you ideas. There is no lack of ideas. What there's a lack of is people that have an idea, will keep going, fail, keep going, fail, and get back up and hopefully follow our 3 Ps. That's what the world needs.
So, like every good TED Talk, we put in a quote, but this time it's not by a famous person, it's by my dad, which is actually very awkward to say the least because he's actually dyslexic. So, success hides in all the failures everyone else gives up on. My dad.
Yeah, it's a pretty good quote. I think it sums up what we do.
And now, to end, what is your finger bun? How are you going to turn a no into a yes?
Thank you.